Hi, welcome to the Optimising Your Brilliance podcast, where we get to the source of what makes people brilliant and explore how to eradicate the barriers that stop you from shining. By shining, I mean being at your absolute best in both work and life. You'll hear from business and thought leaders who bear all and share their insider secrets, along with my episodes focused on optimising your performance, productivity, success and well-being. My name is Estelle Read, founder of Be, executive coach, speaker and best-selling author of Inner Brilliance, Outer Shine, 10 Antidotes to Imposter Syndrome, Workaholism and Stress. So if you're ready to take your work life to the next level, let's begin. Welcome. Today I'm joined by a truly inspiring guest, Simon Edwards. Simon is a freelance PGA performance coach and tournament director, working with some of the most talented people in the golf industry. As a coach to a team of 20 professional golfers, he's helped his players achieve over 200 professional tournament victories. Simon's also a tournament director and rules official, working with organisations like the Ladies European Tour, the Confederation of Professional Golf and the DP World Tour. And he's just been appointed as tournament director and chief referee for the relaunch of the MENA Tour. But Simon's story goes beyond coaching. He's competed at the very highest level, playing in the Open Championship not once but twice, including the iconic 2010 event at St Andrews in front of his parents. One of the most memorable moments was sharing the practice range with none other than Tiger Woods, witnessing firsthand what it means to be in the presence of true greatness. What stands out most about Simon isn't just his impressive resume, but his passion for helping others realise their true potential. In this episode, you'll hear about his coaching philosophy, his focus on process and continuous improvement, and the impact he's had on both my own journey as a golfer and so many others. I'm thrilled to have him here. So let's dive in. Welcome, everybody. I've got my coach here. He's my golf coach. He's a PGA professional coach, and he's really done wondrous things for both my husband and I. But I've got a confession to make, folks. So you'll have seen my post that I've been trying to play golf, but there's a backstory to it. And that backstory was that my husband retired. We moved up to the lakes, and I was just saying to Simon that I was really concerned about how my husband was going to spend his time. And he was, what did you go on? Tell me what you said.
I said you were looking for something to do so you can get him out of the house. Yeah, it was a purely self-centered, idea that he's retired now. I can't be having it around the house because it's just. See, this is why I love you and Mike, is because Mike's so like me, it's a joke, and you're so like my wife, it's a joke. And this is why I spend 25 weeks a year on the road, because if I was at home all year, I'd be divorced or dead.
I knew Mike, he likes reading, he loves his Kindle, he loves his dog walking, he loves his garden. And he said, look, when I retire, I'm just going to look after you girls. And I thought, fine, still a bit worried about it. When we relocated to Kendal, so our morning walk is going up the golf course. And the thing is with Mike, and the reason you two have hit it off, they've both got massive brains. They're like walking Googles. They're both sciencey blokes as well. And we were walking.
We just flag it, really.
No.
That's all we're doing.
No, honestly. You two are hilarious when you get together, because Mike will ask you a question and you go into the science of it all, and Mike's off. And that really floats his boat. But going back to going up Kendal Fell, And all of a sudden, he starts spitting out facts about golf. And I thought, that's a bit weird. I didn't know he was a golf enthusiast. Anyway, the thing is with golf, and the thing about this podcast is, one of the focuses has been imposter syndrome. So there's 5 different types of imposter syndrome, one of which is the natural genius, which is Mike. And I've got permission to share this. I checked with him before. But the natural genius, what they do is they set themselves really ridiculously high standards. And the other thing they struggle with is not being able to do things instantly like that. So many years ago, I bought him a guitar and he picked it up and went, ba-dong, I can't do that, and put it down again. So I thought, he's obviously interested in golf. How can we get him into it? Hence, I bought him a gift voucher and we both had a golf lesson with you last August. But I've confessed to Simon, I have been a little bit of a nightmare coachy in that I haven't practiced as much as Mike, so I've been a bit shite. Mike is really, and it's frustrating because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of that, that you show someone how to do something and it's come on, have you been doing your own work? And whereas Mike has really excelled, he has done amazing under your stewardship. And I think if I'd been retired, I would have been out there practicing as much as he was, but I'm just too busy at the moment. So I've had to put my golf career on hold.
The great thing with you is you're a really good student because you get it, but you don't have time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are eminently coachable, which is fabulous because of what you do and how you help other people. But this game is so ridiculously infuriating and ridiculously frustrating that it's like any process that we get involved in. It takes time to put the repetitions in and to do all the stuff. But at some point, people they find time. And where Mike's been so cool is Mike gets it, and Mike, because of his natural genius, he has incredibly high expectations, but he understands it's a process.
Yes.
And he's willing to do the independent skills and the little bits that's part of the greater whole, which most people just, and this, again, this is the problem with it. And I believe this, the culture we live in these days, everybody wants to get a helicopter to the top of Mount Everest and take a selfie, as opposed to climb the mountain.
Yes.
And life doesn't work like that. It's all about climbing the mountain. And whatever we do, whether it's what you coach or what I coach or what, and I say this to you all the time, I've got incredibly clever friends. Yeah. And I talk to incredibly clever people about, and not just in my industry, outside of my industry, to make what I do in my industry, from everything that I do in my industry, way better. It's the journey's the fun. I don't think I'd like to get to the top of Everest. I really don't think I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just every day I'm trying to be better today than I was yesterday. That's all I'm trying
No,
to do.
and that's it. And you know what Mike does every week, or whenever he's got his lesson with you, he will go out and go, where do I need to improve? What am I struggling
Yeah.
with? He comes off to you, you fix it, or you'll say,
Yeah.
try this. And he comes back like an excited teenager. Do you know what I mean?
Don't you find, I was told a long time ago that by an incredibly great coach, a guy called Martin Hall, who I had the privilege of working with. He said basically our job is the 3 E's. It's to educate, entertain, and enthuse.
Yes.
So once we do that, the education is obviously there, but we've got to entertain and we've got to give people the opportunity to be enthusiastic about the process because they can see the constant improvement I'm a big believer in Kaizen, the Japanese idea that it's constant and never-ending improvement. It's for people that your audience will probably understand what Kaizen is, but it's a Japanese philosophy that they still use now in Japan with the Deming Award. So it's very cool. So yeah, you have to know your subject matter, obviously, but again, it was interesting. Last week, I was away working in Greece for a company that I worked for, and we were talking about this. We were talking about how people I'm trying to help them grow that business. We were talking about people don't buy things anymore; they buy experiences. Yeah,
Yes.
so we're trying to create everything that we do as it's not a golf lesson; it's an experience. It's not a golf school; it's an experience. It's not a golf tournament; it's an experience, and that's really so you educate, entertain, and enthuse.
That's exactly it. And the going back to educate, entertain, and enthuse, and thinking about our experience with you, that's absolutely how I felt when we were with you.
I'm doing an okay job then.
Yeah, no, you absolutely, that's you to a T. And this never-ending improvement process, totally buy into that. And but that's also where I fell down. And just to complete the story loop, so I was saying to Simon, I didn't plan my exit, as in
Mm,
my exit from practice. And so it was quite difficult actually having that discussion, and he was disappointed. But I really valued my lessons with you. And as I say, I'm hoping that when I get some more spare time, we're going to be going on golf holidays and all that kind of thing. But yeah, so you're just coaching Mike at the moment, aren't you? And I've stepped away. Now I've taken the stabilizers off because that's what I was. I was the stabilizer to
hmm.
enable the natural genius to have a partner who was crap. So he's shone, and he's also a perfectionist under the
The
imposter
banners.
syndrome types. And now he is at a level where we were walking past Kendal Golf Course the other day, and someone was teeing off, and I find that bit a bit embarrassing, teeing off.
Yeah,
You know,
my self-esteem seat.
that's it. That's exactly it. And there was a moment, and I turned to Mike and I said, "You can hit further than that now, can't you?" And he went, "Yeah." And it was just ace. And yeah,
And I bet he lit up as well. Oh yeah, can you?
I'm so proud of him though. And yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything you've
It,
done.
and I've enjoyed it. I think I've enjoyed it as much as he has. To be honest, I'm very lucky that I get to do when I get up in the morning. I get to do whatever I want to do all day, and I'm one of the incredibly fortunate people that get to do that.
Yeah. So tell me about the self-esteem seat, and then I'm going to ask you about your origin story.
So at a golf club I used to work at, whenever you got a new golfer, that everybody that starts golf thinks they're hopeless and they're the worst golfer in the world. And it's just because it is quite intimidating, it is quite daunting to be a new golfer. So I used to have people come up and say, "Oh, I don't know whether I can do this. I don't know whether I can do this. And I'm rubbish and I'm this, that, and the other." So by the first tee, there was a circular seat. So I used to make them a coffee and say, "Come on, we'll go and sit here for 15 or 20 minutes and we'll watch people tee off the first tee." And they said, "Oh, okay, what's that going to prove?" And I'm like, "What you'll see is you'll see that they're actually rubbish as well." So what they did was they sat there and after about 15, 20 minutes of watching 8 or 10 truly awful tee shots, they'd go, "I'm actually not as bad as I thought I was." Yeah. And that would re-enthuse them to keep going and stay on the horse. And it was just a brilliant way of doing it. It's something I learned a long time ago from another great friend of mine that it's it is intimidating. It is when anybody tries to learn something. I'm finding it at the minute because like Mike with the guitar. Okay. My father, who was an incredible man, and we'll talk about that in the origin story, passed away earlier this year. And it was fine. It's all cool. And he was ready. And he was a great guitar player. So when we were sorting all this stuff out, I was very fortunate to pick up one of his guitars and one of his really nice guitars. And I'm going to learn to play it. So that's my journey outside of what I do. And I know I'm going to be hopeless at it to start with, but I know I'm going to be so obsessed about being good at it, which is Mike's journey of having super high expectations. And it's going to drive me round the bend. And I know it is, but I'm actually quite looking forward to it. So,
This obsessed thing,
yeah.
because I know you have lots of obsessions, don't you? And also, I was thinking about my old boss today, and he said to me, "Do you know, dear, you're a bit obsessive." And I was really like a bit offended. I was like, "Oh, am I? What does he
Oh, I'd
mean
have
by
gone,
that?"
I'd have gone, thanks very much.
And
Brilliant. Fab.
but I but for the first time today, and it's funny that you bring it up, I saw it actually as a great trait. And I was a post by Steve Bartlett, Diary of a CEO
Hmm.
podcast, and he was talking about that. I know he's a bit obsessive. He obsesses on the small details, a bit like in the golf
Hmm.
game. And also to link it back to Kaizen, that
Yeah.
continuous improvement and that journey of you've just got to keep going. And even in the early days, like the improvements can be really small. So he showed a screenshot of his podcast numbers, and it was
Hmm.
like flat and then really shot off.
Yeah.
But in those flat moments where you're struggling to see progress, it can be challenging, can't it, to keep going? And
It can. And in my world, and the students that I talk to, once they get over that first hurdle and they really do see progress, the improvement curve is incredibly steep, and then everybody plateaus. And
yeah,
then we need something else, and then the improvement curve goes again. And then it's the real secret is, see, I don't think obsessiveness is a bad thing. I don't understand people who do, because if you want to be great at something, you have to let that consume you. So you look at the great athletes in the world. So you look at Tiger Woods, you look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, Michael Phelps. Look at whoever you want, and they were obsessive, yeah, because they wanted to be the greatest. Now, if you don't want to be the greatest at what you do, that's nice, but I quite like to be that. So I don't think you can get there without having that level of obsessiveness, but also a level of almost insecurity. I think insecurity is brilliant. Yeah.
tell me
Because
why.
the insecurity that you're giving the right message makes you work harder to give the right message. Yeah, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I've got players on the road playing tournaments, I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and think, did I tell them that? And I'll look through the notes I've got on my phone. I said, oh, yeah, I told them that. And I'll go back to sleep. But it's not, I don't see it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That people think obsessiveness is a bad idea. The best in the
Yeah,
world have always been obsessive. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett. You talk about whoever you want in business, they're obsessive. They're totally
yeah.
obsessed. Musk used to sleep in his office.
What's the downside? Bear in mind, right? Recovered workaholic, made myself sick, totally fine now. What's the downside for you of that obsessiveness?
Probably isn't one. Seriously,
Yeah,
I don't see it, because I'm brilliant at compartmentalizing. I'm fantastic at it.
yeah.
Yeah, I am so good at it. It's ridiculous. So when I work, I'm up super early every morning. I will have my hour where I read stuff and do stuff and all the rest of it. Then the minute my wife, who's an absolute legend, my wife is just such a legend, and my son is still at home. My daughter's away at university doing her masters. And you want to look at obsessive, that's obsessive. Yeah, she is. She's like me 100 times worse. She is unbelievable how obsessed she is with wanting to be great at what she does. And Ollie's not quite as obsessed. He is obsessed with being great, my son, and my wife is brilliant at what she does as well. So when I'm with them, I can actually switch it off, but I'm
And
very good at switching it off and then switching it back on again when I need to.
how do you switch it off?
So I just spend time. We talk about stuff that's not work related. So we'll just do daft stuff. We'll do, because I'm mad for Lego and we're mad for Lego. So I build Lego. Yeah, so we'll all sit around the table building Lego. And that's the coolest thing in the world because you have a couple of hours and you think, oh my God, yeah, I've been here for 2.5 hours building the Avengers Tower. Yeah. And then I'll go back to work. Yeah. So yeah, I just think it's about when you're not working, you've just got to have so much fun and spend time with the people that really matter to you. I think that's the real key to it.
Yeah.
You can sit and scroll through Facebook for an hour, or you can go and spend time and build Lego, or go out for lunch, or do something.
Yeah.
I think it's personal interaction more than anything else. Social media is fine; it has its place, but I just think it's becoming. Let's go with that. I don't think it's obsessive. I think some people are getting all consumed. It's all consuming, which is
Yeah.
scary, which is quite frightening.
Yeah. I find it overwhelming, if I'm honest. I worry about future generations. I could go down a whole rabbit hole on that one,
Yeah,
but
and we all could.
but
It has
you know,
its place. It's a tool, or it should be a tool. Yeah,
yeah,
it should be a tool for helping people. It should be a tool for sharing information. It should be a tool for making people's lives better. The problem is it's gone the other way. Yeah, and it's become a very dangerous place.
to pick up on what you were just saying there, so to switch off, you do something. How important do you think physically doing something is for switching off? Because that's one of the things I got from golf. Going and whacking those balls. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's got to be something you have to concentrate on.
Yes.
So it's not just switching off. Even watching a movie, you have to concentrate. Yeah. So to switch off, like this evening, or when I finish work later on, I'll go home and we'll have dinner. We may watch a movie, or we may do something else for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to constantly. It's not hard work to switch off, but you have to give it your full attention.
Yes.
You can't do it 50% and still be thinking about work 50%. You've got to give whatever you're doing at that moment in time your full attention, because if you don't, it's pointless doing it.
And I got instant feedback when I used to practice golf
Yeah.
when I didn't give it my full attention. The minute a thought entered my head about work or something else, it'd be off all over the place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was Gerald Ford that somebody said he couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me also about your wonderful wife. You said she's obsessive and she works for, is it the Mountain Goat Company?
She works for Mountain Goat. Yeah. She's the
Yeah,
transport manager at Mountain Goat, which is just a fantastic company. And she is, my wife is so hyper organized, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And I'm organized, but she makes me look like it's my first day.
What does she do what's the obsessive element and what is the brilliant bit that your wife does?
Her brilliance is her organization. She runs a team of drivers and buses and tours and school runs and everything else. And the woman loves a spreadsheet. Yeah, the woman adores a spreadsheet. So that's her brilliance, is that she can know where 17 people are at once. She doesn't know what I am, but she knows what everybody else is.
I think I might have told you this before, but the Mountain Goat Company has a special place in my heart. Reason being, when I was a kid, lived up here the first time, and I used to walk along, oh, I don't know what road it is. It's outside that road from Brockhall to the lake school.
Yeah.
And I used to walk down that road on my own, quite happy
Mhm.
doing it, loved it. Grandad said, "You are not walking there on your own. You might get kidnapped." So he
Okay.
made, yeah, all right. So he made me catch the Mountain Goat bus, which used to stop at the end of our drive, which was in
Right.
nowhere. I am an introvert. I'm really shy naturally, and I don't like being watched, which is ridiculous because I'm a speaker. But if I put my professional hat on, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I used to get on that bus and just go purple. I was so shy. And as soon as my granddad stopped monitoring, I started walking again
You
because
know,
I was
again.
just... Anyway, let's go to your origin story. You started talking about your dad. I'm sorry, he passed
No, no.
away at a young age.
I'm a big believer that when people are ready to go, they make a choice, and he definitely made a choice. Yeah,
Really?
he all 100%. Yeah, he'd had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things. And like any loss, it's hard, but he went on his own terms. He didn't go on anybody else's terms. It was just, right, I've had enough now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could see him. And thankfully, I spoke to him the day before, and it was, yeah, it was great. But yeah,
Oh,
I knew he'd had enough, which is cool.
yeah. No, my dad was the same. It was a
Mm.
blessing in the end, but it's still heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's hard.
Um,
It's always hard.
yeah.
Yeah, but you learn to live with it,
What
which is cool.
influence did your dad have on you growing up then?
He was the one that introduced me to the game in the first instance, which is really cool. I had a golf club in my hand the day I was born. Yeah, and I've still got it somewhere. It was a little plastic golf club that I had in my hand the day I was born. Hang on. Yes, I've still got this little plastic club somewhere that apparently the day I was born, he put it in my hand the day I was born. And I think that's very cool.
Wow. He put it in your hand the day you were
Apparently, the
born.
day I was born, I had it in my hand. Yeah, it wasn't for very long because obviously I was just born.
Yeah.
But but apparently that happened. Yeah, and my mum used to tell the story as well before she passed as well. And she said, "Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah." I used to tag along with him. He was a great cricketer in the first instance, so I remember watching him play cricket. And then I remember being 3 or 4, maybe, and just tagging along and hitting some balls when he played and watching him play. And I was very lucky I grew up around it. And he was definitely the one I can credit for giving me the passion for the game because he was so passionate about it. It was ridiculous. And I think what I'm most proud of is I played 2 major championships. I played the Open Championship in 2010 at St Andrews in front of my mum and dad,
Oh,
which
wow.
was possibly the coolest thing I've ever done. Yeah. And listen, I was shit when I got there, but I mean, I did it. Yeah,
What?
I didn't play great, but it was just so brilliant to do it because they'd supported me since I was God knows how young. And to play a major championship at the home of golf with my mum and dad there was just the coolest thing in the world. Yeah,
Uh,
it was brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
what did mum and dad say about it?
they were just about that experience or the whole thing.
Oh, I'm interested in whatever you want to tell me.
Yeah, so the one thing they loved about the Open was when you're a player, you get friends and family can come inside the ropes where normal people can't get, and they can sit in the players' lounge and do all sorts of cool stuff and get to places normal people can't get to. My dad was a bit starstruck watching Tiger and Rory and these guys. My mum didn't give a shit. Who knew her? Yeah. And she'd start talking to somebody's wife and they'd be talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, yeah, this is really cool, quite cool. Yeah. And my dad's walking around going, oh, that's Davis Love, and that's Lucas Glover, and that's Tiger. And that's, I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
What? It must have been amazing for your dad, especially if he was passionate about it.
Oh, for sure. He loved it. He absolutely adored it. And well, I played again the following year. And again, he came, but mum didn't. And he wasn't trying to starstruck the second, which was quite nice. But yeah, he is. I've got to say, he was the one that got me involved in the game. He was the one that taught me the values as well. I think that's incredibly important. That I remember you couldn't, in those days, which was early 80s, you couldn't join a golf club until you were 12 years old, or you were just going to be 12 that year. And I was always, when can I be a member? When can I be a member? And he explained this to me. But he said, that's okay. You can be a member at 12, but you're not going on the golf course until you can hit a ball 100 yards. And I'm like, okay. But I'm watching people that can't do that. He said, "But I don't care what other people do. You got to do this because when you go out and play, you can actually play." So he gave me a goal and he gave me an expectation of what I needed to achieve to even step foot on a golf course. And I think those are values that I've always, because he was ex-military as well, and it was, I think, a lot of military values as well. It was never strict, it was never harsh, it was never anything else. It was just incredibly high values all the time.
What were those expectations from your perspective?
When I started, I wanted to be the best player in the world. 100%. And you'd stand on the putting green at 9 o'clock at night, holding a putt saying this one's for the open. Yeah. And it's always a very interesting idea that if you have those goals that are that high, but you don't quite make it, you still have a great time on the way.
Yeah.
And I've had a great time and I'm still having a great time. Yeah. Because now I was very fortunate and I did everything when I played tournament golf that I ever wanted to do. And there's not many people that can say that.
What was that? What did you want to
Just,
do?
I wanted to play majors. I wanted to play on the European Tour. I wanted to play for my country. I wanted to play for Great Britain and Ireland. And I managed to achieve all that. And then when I retired in 22 fully, I could retire and then think, oh, retire from playing golf, tournament golf. I still play a lot of golf. I still love playing golf. I played last week in Greece. But I did everything I wanted to do. So again, I left on my terms. Yeah, I
Yeah.
retired on my terms. And obviously I've got a very good coaching business as well, and the other stuff I do running golf tournaments, but I don't miss it. I think that's the key. That
And
I don't
why?
mi- that I don't
And
miss it.
and is that partly to do with it was on your terms?
Yes, totally.
Yeah. How did you know it was time?
Because I knew I wasn't good enough to win.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I always said that the minute I know I can't win, I'll hang them up. And I
Yeah.
knew I couldn't win. Because these kids are
Yeah.
quite good now. I'm 54, and these kids are blowing it 70 by me off the tee. And
Yeah.
I'm standing there thinking, really? Yeah. My son's the best at this. So when we play golf, he hits it miles off the tee. I hit it nice and straight, but he hits it miles. And we played a couple of weeks ago when I was home, and I've had a really good one for me. And he sent this thing that's still going up when it's going over mine. And as he's walking past my ball to his, he gets to his ball and he shouts back, "You could build a Tesco's in here in the distance between your ball and my ball." Yeah, these kids are good now.
That's like when I play with Mike. And I have been known to pick my balls up
Yeah.
and say, I'll catch up. Tell me about your son as well.
I'm very lucky. I've got two incredibly great children. Yeah. The My daughter's the academic, which takes after my wife. Yeah. And the boy's a sportsman, takes after me. He's very academic also. Yeah. But no, my daughter's just gone back to university to do her master's. And then
Wow.
she's going to do that and then go and do a PhD because she is incredibly intelligent. And Ollie, my son, has just started working at Carris Green at full time, and he's playing golf and tournament golf on top of that. And yeah, it's great to watch them develop and watch them become really good human beings. I think that's a really nice idea. We've always, Sam and I have always tried to instill into them, yeah, go do what you want from a professional point of view, but be quite a good human being along the way. Yeah, because we see, and certainly in golf, we see a lot of the pushy parent syndrome. And I'm very lucky because I've seen it and I know how to deal with it. There's a study done from the Australian Academy of Sport years ago now, and they asked children what they enjoyed most about sport. And they said playing and winning and being with my friends and all the rest of it. And then they asked them what they least liked about it. And they said the car ride home because they got critiqued in the car on the way home. And that is, you see it in junior golf now that these kids are looking round, they hit a shot, and they're looking around to look for their parents, and it's another bad shot. The parents are going, oh, the kids are under an incredible amount of pressure. So when I go to a golf tournament with my son, I'm just a golfing dad. I don't go anywhere near. I'll take him, but I don't need to take him now because he drives his own car. But when I used to take him, I used to sit and watch from a distance, and he was never under any pressure. And it's hard when you're trying to go into the same profession as your dad. And I was reasonably successful at what I did. It's a lot of pressure because, oh, you're his kid. You're supposed to be good. Oh, not really. What he's supposed to be is happy. What he's then supposed to be is a decent human being, and then we'll figure it out from there.
And you know what you just described, that critique,
Go on.
it causes trauma in kids.
Totally.
And
Completely.
the number of times I've had execs, so I use havening to get rid of trauma, but it makes kids feel not good enough.
Correct.
And then that then translates into adulthood where they're on this constant pursuit to prove that they are. So I'm really glad you mentioned that.
But
And
the scary part is the parents are living vicariously through their children. Hang on a minute. If you've been successful at what you've done, cool. But if you've never been any good at the sport that your child is involved in, don't give him a hard time. Yeah, because that's what coaches are for and mentors are for and other types of coaches are for. Don't be standing on the sideline shouting at your kid. Yeah, because you were never good any good at it anyway.
nice one. Can I just go back to the open?
Yes.
What did it teach you?
What did it teach me? It taught me I wasn't as good as I thought I was.
But how, if that was the conclusion that you came to, how did you deal with that?
I worked harder. So
Because you
it
went
was,
again.
yeah. So I'll tell you a little story about the Tuesday at the Open. So the Open Championship happens on, it starts on a Thursday, goes through the tournament days, Thursday to Sunday. So you generally arrive the Sunday before, you practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the gun goes on Thursday. So I practiced on the Monday on the golf course and on the range with friends of mine. I'd played early on the Tuesday morning. So I'd gone in, had some lunch, and I went out on the range to hit some balls. And the range in Andrew is beautiful. And there's people in the stands, all the rest of it, there was like 3 men and a dog in the stands because it was me and some other people that nobody's ever heard of. So I'm hitting balls, I'm hitting it lovely on the range, and it's all good, everything's happy. And the next minute, this circus arrives behind me, and I'm like, it's Tiger Woods. And I've turned round, and my dad's on the range with me, and my caddy's on the range with me, and they've seen the look on my face, and I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, I don't need this. Yeah. So if you've ever seen the movie Tin Cup, that happens in Tin Cup, and he starts hitting it straight right down the range in front of the other players. And I'm thinking, I really don't need this. So he starts warming up with a couple of little short clubs, and it's fine, and it's all good, and it's nice. And I'm thinking he might just hit some of these and disappear. So I mean, it's lovely. And he gets this 8 iron out of the bag and he hits the first shot. And it makes a noise like I've never heard. Yeah. It's come off the club face. Oh my word. I've never heard anything like this. It was like watching Mozart or it was like watching a genius. Yeah. Do what he did. And the more balls he's hit, the more my dad's laughing because he knows, yeah, that I know what's going on behind me. We got to a point where I've just thought I've had enough of this. Yeah. So I turned around, I thought this might be the only time I ever get this close to watching genius. So I turned around and sat in my bag and watched him practice for about an hour and a half. Yeah. And it was unbelievable. It was possibly the greatest experience watching someone hit a golf ball that I've ever seen.
How did you
And
use
that's when I
that?
knew. That's when I knew that, okay, I'm standing next to the possibly the greatest player that's ever lived. And I can't do any of that. Yeah. And it was a privilege to be there to watch him do it. And I've had the privilege over the years of playing with incredibly good. I've never played with him, but with incredibly good players. But none of them do that. He was just out on his own.
What's your view on, because I know and you practice all sorts of different techniques on visualizing and watching. So for me, I like to watch excellence, and that really inspires me and it helps me, I think, with my micro movements, and I imagine myself doing it and all that type of thing. And like all the studies demonstrate that if we visualize success, we can build a neural pathway of competence by,
Totally agree.
yeah, go on. Let's get into all of that. Tell me what your thoughts are.
From a technical point of view, we have our visual cortex is so incredibly clever. Yeah. So straight away, we gain, I think it's something like 64, 65% of all our motor learning through our visual cortex. And then it translates into our nervous system, and then it translates into our muscles from our nervous system. And it's amazing when it's slightly going around the house in this, but when somebody goes to a golf tournament, an amateur golfer goes to a golf tournament, watches the best players in the world, and then comes home and goes for 9 holes, they play better than they've ever played because they're modeling what they've just seen. Yeah. So the visual idea, and I'm very visual when I teach because I demonstrate a lot. Yeah. And I honestly believe that when people see it, they have a greater idea of learning it, because we know visually the learning is way more effective than auditory. Kinesthesia is very important as well, feeling it. But if you see it visually, you've got more chance. You've got to understand it. But once you have a picture, yeah, of what the golf swing's supposed to look like, we can do it. So then working that on, if you sit there and picture yourself as being the greatest player in the world, or the greatest coach in the world, or whatever, you've got a much higher probability of that manifesting itself into some sort of reality, which I think is hugely important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, as a golfing professional person, when you had a big tournament or event or whatever else, so for example, if I've got something big and I feel apprehensive, so take for example, when I did my book launch, I'd never presented in Waterstones in front of my family and my friends, and I was really nervous. And so the way that I got rid of that is I visualized it over and over again. I went in to see where I was going to be presenting so I could imagine it.
Yep.
And then I visualized it over and over again. I used havening to haven in the outcome. And then at the moment of performance, I just went straight into calm, relaxed, confident, having fun. And my speech came out the way I wanted it to.
Yep.
What do you do? Or what
What did I
techniques
used
do
to
you
do?
do? Yeah. How did you get
So
mentally and prepared for it?
I played, I had a little trick of always seeing my name on the top of the leaderboard.
Nice.
Yeah. Because the problem with our games, you can't control it. You can control the process, but you can't control the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can hit the greatest shot in the world, it can hit a rock and go 40 yards offline.
Yeah.
So the only thing, and it's the same, everything that we do is the same. If you control the process and you have consistent process, you're going to have a much higher probability of creating a consistent outcome, aren't you? And we know this in business. We know this. So if I get up in the morning and do what I have to do in a consistent way, whether I'm running my business or coming into coach, which obviously is part of my business, because I've got that many balls in the air, I'm very much like you, then you visualize what you've got to get achieved, and then you just go do it. Yeah. But I used to see, honestly, I used to see my name at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah. And it got to a point where the level I was playing at. It never happened on tour because I was never good enough to win on tour, and I knew that. But when I dropped down a couple of levels, people knew I could win. People expected me to win. Yeah, other players, because they knew I was going to do something daft. I was going to shoot 61 at some point. I knew I was going to win. And that manifests itself into a sense of calm. That's the real key. It was like a sense of calm. When I played great, everything happened in slow motion. Yeah, when I played poorly, everything happened fast.
Interesting.
That was a really weird. I remember playing one round of golf, and it was close to home, and I shot 12 under par, shot 60 on a par 72, and everything happened in slow motion. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I felt a sense of, people call it the zone. I'm not sure what that is. Be great if we could bottle that, because we could sell the zone, yeah, and we could go put our feet up in the Bahamas and drink wine for the rest of our life, which would be marvelous. But I just think it's a sense of calm, and it's a sense of focus, a sense of purpose. I think that's what the zone really is. And there's been zillions of books written on that. Matthew Syed with Bounce and all the rest of that sort of stuff, which I love, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And but what was interesting is that there was also like this collective belief, wasn't there? Everyone expected you to win, and you also expected to win. And I think that's a real
And
powerful.
that's why I retired, because I knew I couldn't.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So once I knew that these kids were better than me, and I can, all the planets aligned, even now, if I had the time to practice and all the planets aligned, I could still win. But I couldn't win as often as I used to win. And that, don't get me wrong, I still love playing golf. I just don't, I choose not to play tournament golf anymore.
Yeah. And that's a
Yeah.
powerful word. I choose.
Yeah. It's everything we do is a choice.
Yeah.
Everything
So,
that we do is a choice.
so to bring things to a close, I always like to ask people, what do you think it takes to make someone brilliant? And knowing what you know and doing what you do, and we already know that you believe in obsession. What if there was a checklist of things in your mind that equals brilliance in your field? What would be on that checklist?
Playing or coaching or both. Coaching.
Play.
Let's do
Yeah, all right
coaching.
then. All right.
Let's do coaching. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we do both?
Yeah, okay, we'll do both. Let's do
Yeah.
playing first then. Let's do playing and coaching. Let's do the first one, and let's put them together.
Yeah.
Because the greatest in the world don't think they're brilliant. Yeah. They still think they're on a pathway. They still think they're on a journey. They're never. Tiger used to have a great saying that when he won a tournament, the famous story about when he just got married for the first time and he won a tournament, and his wife said, "Perfect, well done for winning. Where are we going to have the party?" And she used to be the nanny for a Swedish golf called Jesper Parnevik. He said, "What are you on about?" And he said, "When Jesper used to win, we used to have a party." He said, "Well, yeah, but I'm supposed to win." Yeah, that's done. What's next? Yeah, Jordan had this. Michael Jordan had the thing. It was done. He worked with a guy called Tim Grover, and Grover always used to say, "That's done. What's next?" So I think in our world, in the golfing world, the greatest in the world don't think they're brilliant. Other people think they're brilliant.
Nice.
The athlete doesn't think they're brilliant because they're all striving to be better.
Yeah.
Brilliance in coaching is having such a deep knowledge of your subject base that you can communicate the message to people with different learning styles and different ranges of motion or biomechanics or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That you can make every person that you talk to better. That's brilliance. And you're brilliant, Butch Harmon, Sean Foley, Jim Flick, Bob Tosky. These are the guys that we are aspiring to be. But you talk to Sean Foley, he doesn't think he's brilliant. Yeah, he will reference Tosky. yeah, who's 93 and still coaching. And Tosky doesn't think he's brilliant because he references Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones didn't think he was brilliant because he was just like, I think brilliance is external. I don't think
Yeah.
brilliance is internal
Yeah. No.
in my world.
Yeah, no, I like it. And you absolutely do adapt to different learning styles because I am very kinesthetic. Mike is very much in his head, he's very auditory. So you guys would go off on your chat, you'd do all the science. I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. I
Mike and
can't.
I, Mike and I are talking about Schrodinger's cat in quantum physics, and you're sitting there going, "What are these two on about?"
Yes,
Yeah,
but then when it was my turn, you would show me the mechanics because
yeah,
I was kinesthetic and that
yeah,
was absolutely, I'd be like,
yeah,
yeah, got that. That's great. But I
yeah.
also had to watch you as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah,
So it
because
was that
well,
visual and
you were visual kinesthetic, weren't you? Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, you were KV, you were kinesthetic visual, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Anything else? One final thing, sorry, because I know you're a big reader. What are you
Hmm.
reading? What are you reading at the minute?
I'm rereading A Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawking. I love Hawking, so I'm reading that. I've just got a Bill Bryson book called The Short History of Nearly Everything. So that is really cool. So golf related, I'm actually reading a book called The Physics of Golf by a Swedish physicist called Theodore Jurgensen, which is giving me a headache. Yeah. I was never really good at school at maths, and the equations in this book are brutal. So I've always got 3 or 4 books on the go at once. And I'm reading a book on Prince because I'm an enormous Prince fan, a huge Prince fan. So I'm reading a book about him, and I'm listening to a lot of Taylor Swift because I'm an unbelievable Swiftie.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
But this makes sense to me, right? As soon as you said Stephen Hawking's, Bill Bryson's, and Physics of Golf, that's Mike.
yeah,
That's why you guys get on.
yeah.
He's got the first 2 books for sure. What's making you reread Stephen Hawking's?
I'm spending too much time on an aeroplane.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm spending too much time on the road at the minute. No, it just fascinates me because every time you read history, brief history of time, you learn something else. Yeah, and it's stuff that going back to what you said about how I switch off. So when I'm traveling, it's almost like my downtime. Even though I'm going to a tournament or I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'm that's how I switch off. That's my day off. That's my time. I'll sit there and I'll watch a movie or I'll read a book or I'll do whatever. And that's my compartmentalized time when I'm traveling. Yeah, I mean, Hawkins phenomenal. He was so far ahead of his time. Bill Bryson's very good. I've just finished The Talent Code again, which is a brilliant book. The Talent Code is an absolutely phenomenal book.
Is that the one you told me about?
Daniel Coyle, yeah. Daniel Coyle's Talent
What's
Code.
it called? What's it called? Myelination.
Yeah, so basically it's everybody thinks muscle memory exists and it doesn't. It's your brain secretes a chemical when you're learning called myelin and your nervous system gets myelinated. It's called myelination of the nervous system. And it can happen in any motor skill learning or any learning environment that your nervous system, because your nervous system controls everything. So yeah, Talent Code, I've just finished reading, which was
Mm,
again probably second time I'm reading it.
yeah.
One of my things that I do with my daughter is close to where we live in Sedbury, which you all know very well, have the greatest bookshops on earth. Yeah. And whenever she's home from school, we have a Sunday where we go out and we troll the bookshops and we end up going out for lunch. And that's again how I switch off. Yeah.
Oh, that is lovely.
Which is very cool. I love doing stuff like that.
I'm sat here thinking, oh, you are just so interesting. You know so much stuff. And I could go on and on asking you questions, but I won't because, as I say, I know your time is precious and I know you're really busy. Thank you so much for coming on. You've
My
been
pleasure. It's been great fun.
ace. I knew you'd be ace. Um, As soon as Mike suggested it, I was like, yes, I wish I'd thought of it first.
I just hope every day when I come to work or when I don't work, yeah, I come and I have fun and I live my passion every day, which is really such a cool idea. I just hope people that listen to this enjoy it and they get something from it.
I know they absolutely will. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. And it's always lovely to talk to you.
Thank you. If you'd like to be notified when the next episode drops, remember to subscribe. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit. Finally, if any of these topics have sparked your interest and you'd like to work with me, you can apply for a free discovery call at estelleread.com. Let's see if we're a good fit. You'll also find plenty of free resources there. I'm Estelle Read, executive coach, speaker, and best-selling author, and this has been the Optimising Your Brilliance podcast. Thanks for listening. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Please consult with a qualified professional for any specific advice related to your situation.